Welcome. It's 2019 and it's Joe Volpe, the publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper, wishing each and every one of you a very happy, healthy, and why not, a prosperous new year. Now, because it's a new year, we're also entering a political field, a new one. It's going to be a federal election this year. And at no other time would it be so appropriate than now to speak about populism in politics, and that's our comment of the day. So, the rise of populism and the demise of political parties. That's the comment. Political parties used to be the testing ground for ideas, visions of a country, purpose in civic life. They were network incubators and team builders where men and women sculpted the ideas, later ideologies that would define societies, their values, and shape the governments that would carry their philosophies across the land and around the globe. Perhaps this view is overly romantic and unduly nostalgic for a generation and an era that perhaps never existed. It's true that the influence of the, quote, great man, end of quote, with appropriate deference to the great women, who were as impactful, if not less numerous, had always been an inescapable dynamic in history. Some of them, seen through the lens of modern values systems, leaving behind a destructive and violent brutality as a legacy that centuries of time have difficulty erasing. Over the last 100 years, for example, the Western world has seen more than its fair share of such political animals. They all start with the relatively good intentions, the elimination of oppressive dynasties and the equitable redistribution of national wealth. We're still adjusting to their, quote, initiatives, unquote, with varying degrees of success. Russia's troika of Lenin, Stalin, and Trotsky led an anti-monarchical revolt that resulted in the spread of a new system we call communism. It's only 100 years ago. It spread elsewhere. In China, under Mao Zedong, after the overthrow of the imperial order, the ensuing agrarian reforms eventually morphed into an industrial strategy currently captivating the imagination as the, quote, socialist market economy, end of quote. It's doing well. Europe, a continent whose history post-Roman Empire, long ago, 1500 years ago, until 1945, was incessant war, experienced the emergence of petty leaders to fill the void of collapsed monarchical governments. Until recently, they were known as demagogues. Today, we call them populists. Individuals who capture the essence of a national complaint into a catchy phrase that appeals to latent discontent for some real or perceived injustice. The worst of them was a certain Adolf Hitler, whose "Make Germany Great Again" eventually led to world conflagration. Not all examples are of that magnitude, of course, but they all start with a long-distance attachment to the essence of truth or truthfulness. This may strike some as being uncomfortably close to what the world is witnessing in the United States, where Trump the liar aims to make America great again. A little short on details, but generous on lies. 7,546 according to the latest CNN count. He would have made Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's communications director, proud. Over the last couple of generations, in Canada at least, citizens have voted against governments with which they have become disaffected. A disaffection that opposition talking points torque up to incite the public visceral rejection of incumbents. Well, this is nothing new. It rarely matters which party's in power. Leaders have developed a trend to associate their parties to their own persona, as issues become less important than the individuals who allege to speak on them. Management of fiscal and or economic issues, nearly always accompanied by allegations of corruption, have replaced ideas, ideologies, and philosophies. national agendas are rarely identified, debated, or defended, save and except for, here's a quote, cleaning the swamp or draining the swamp, end of quote. Leadership candidates and leaders have even taken to attacking their own parties. There's an inherent irony in this. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford railed against the stench and corruption in his own party, even as he campaigned against a, by then, hapless Kathleen Wynne. Did he actually think anybody was going to lose to her or against her? Today, it's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau who conjures up the ghost of a Stephen Harper to heap scorn on opposition leader Andrew Scheer. He can't possibly be afraid that the Canadian Conservative Party is overflowing with attractive ideas for national unity. But we're in 2019. Follow us on all social media, Corriere.ca, or in our hard copy. We'll resume with the comment in Italian. Until then, thank you.